I believe he did, and just kind of went over, you've been approved. We can do one of two things. We can just wait for you to call us, or we can go with setting up a date with sending you the letter on the stuff you have to buy, and then once you get that stuff, then you call us and we then come out and teach you. And so I said, send me the letter. And then during that time frame was when they approached me with, ironically, you and the BBC at the same time. It was like I think you were first, and then they called and they said, well, now we gotta, they said, this is weird. Now somebody else would like to interview, and we think you'd be a perfect candidate. And I'm going, why do they keep thinking I'd be a perfect candidate? Because I'm not terminal. But apparently, I'm articulate.
I'd say that's true.
And I say that's my biggest downfall, is because I'm too articulate. And that's my only saving grace, is I can still articulate. I just can't function other than that. I have a mouth that works, as David said, sometimes too well. But now my brain and my mouth don't connect. So I think
they sent you the letter to tell you what you needed to buy.
That came...
Where did you buy the stuff?
The letter comes and it says, please don't duplicate, which makes sense. And and it's very specific on what you need to buy, and says you can get this on Amazon. Or you can
Do you still have it?
No, I destroyed it.
So you ordered everything off Amazon?
Well, ironically, what all did you have to have? No, two things had to be ordered from companies. The nitrogen had to come from a company, and you had to ask not just for the canister, but for the canister to be filled. And they told you what model and what gas to order. And then another company, I had to get the regulator, and they told you what model that was. And then I had to get other stuff, and that I got through Amazon, which was a piece of cake. I was worried about how the canister comes, because you have to sign for it. And I was paranoid that because it was going to be coming UPS, and happens to be a very good friend, close friend of David's, David was kind of like adopting him as his son. So they were two very close, and Jason and I had been talking a lot since David died, so I was afraid he'd see it and kind of wonder, what the hell is she doing with that? She doesn't do anything. Why would she need that? She's not a person that does stuff with that kind of gas. But ironically, it was somebody from FedEx that I'd never seen before, which was great, and nobody was here, and I just signed for it, and on the container it kind of says that it's a gas, the box. I think I threw it away. I don't know what I do with the box. I don't know where it is. I must have recycled it. Or it's in the garage for somebody else to find it, I think.
Oh, good. And you ordered the tubing from Amazon?
I ordered the tubing from Amazon, yeah. And the headband thing. Oh, and I had
turkey bags?
Thank you. I had that.
I've done my research.
Yeah.
You had those already?
Well, David cooks. So I just went into the drawer where all the stuff was, and he had both sizes. Knowing David, I went, good for you, David. So he had that, and all I had to do was get the tubing and the headband. So everything came, and so now it was like, okay, guys, I have everything. What do you want to do? And they said, well, it turns out the BBC would like to see you do it too.
How did you think about that? Because I was going to ask to come, but then the BBC was here instead. It's a different experience.
just to get the instructions, it's pretty simple. I mean, it's really simple.
Can I get you more liquid? Did you want
No,
more?
I'm going to go get my water in just a second. It's sitting up on the table.
I'm good.
Hey, cool.
I like to be useful.
Huh.
You know.
I could get spoiled. That's what David would do.
Go get your water.
He was, anything. I'd say, damn, and he's what? I said, I gotta go get my water. No. And he'd be gone. I said, David, I can go do it myself. Oh, that's what I'm here for. I'm your legs, you're on my arms.
Gosh. How's the scone? How's the scone?
Good. Would you like one?
I'm okay.
You sure?
I've eaten a lot of breakfast still. It's still
It's
settling.
got nice little chocolates in it.
Looks good.
Hazelnut. I'm just a nibbler.
That's good. And then all around this time, this is when Dean kind of leaves the picture.
Well, while all this is happening, I'm having to deal with, your house is going to be foreclosed on. Oh, that's when I find out all the contents of my house are worth nothing. That's when my world fell apart. All the things that we had kept all these years that had gained in value, including our 1937 Oldsmobile, all of these things were now worth shit.
How do you know they were worth shit?
Because I checked. I knew what they were before, because I kept tabs on what everything was valuable at. I knew that our 37,
And who gave you the new valuation?
this, on the 37,
Like, who gave you the new evaluation on your house and its contents?
the appraisal or
the appraisal?
the house or the contents? Because that's
Both.
true. Okay, the house was done by the mortgage company.
Champion.
Champion ordered somebody to come out and do a HUD certified appraiser.
And this is when you applied to the HUD. So this is
I
last
went
month?
to a lawyer because I was not going to deal with Champion on my own. So I think it was 2 weeks after David died. I contacted an attorney.
Yeah, you told me you found a good one.
Yeah. And so it was probably about 30 days after David had died that we sent to them, to Champion, the notice of David's death along with my request for an MOE.
Yeah. And then they sent the appraiser.
And then they sent all kinds of shit that I had to prove that I was up to date on the insurance. They wanted I had to jump through some hoops for some paperwork. God, I can't remember it all. But they wouldn't allow us to talk to the supervisor that was doing everything. Everything came in an email form with no telephone numbers. So you ended up having to go through a phone bank to talk to somebody. And if you wanted to talk to that supervisor, they would type your question and it would go to an instant message to the supervisor. Then that person I'd have to wait on the phone while that person responded back, and then they'd read to me what that person said. And can I just talk to them? No, that's not how we do it.
Yeah. So they sent an appraiser. He gives the figure of $550.
Yeah, $598.
$598.
Yeah. However, we'd had, in the last year or so, before David died, he had gone to about 3 different real estate companies here and spoke to 3 different agents about what they thought the valuation for what we could sell this house for.
Yeah.
And all of them came within the same figure, around $725, $750. So stupidly, we figured that that's what it would appraise for, because they were all saying that the market was rebounding.
Yeah.
It was picking up in Pacific City. Right. If your property was worth 150 to 250, it was. Those are the big property. They can't stock those houses fast